Okay. So I had to push an extra button. So, all right. So we should be live right now. Are you seeing it now?
Not yet.
No, not
Maybe
yet.
maybe it's lagging. It said it was scheduled at 7:06 p.m. So I imagine that you just changed
Yeah, I
that.
just changed it to place it live now. Okay. Somebody said JDM said we good. All right, guys, as you're coming in, go ahead and hit the like button and go ahead and start sharing this stream. Definitely do apologize about the technical difficulty on my end. I have it going live on so many different places, but I think we might be good here.
I think we're good. Thanks.
No, absolutely. Like I always say, man, you're always welcome to come on this channel anytime.
I appreciate it. I know I've told you in private many times, but I actually do watch your videos quite a bit, and I certainly appreciate the in-depth dives that you do in all of the Shibarium ecosystem and any other things that you cover too. I find that content nowadays is very much headline driven, and
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's for me that's I think getting into crypto, that's what I needed early on, and that was the whole purpose of my channel was really about teaching, what I've learned throughout the years, mistakes I made, really trying to shorten the learning curve for the next person.
yeah, how long have you had your channel?
I had my channel 2022, I want to say. I made videos like one or two like in 2021, but I was like, yeah. But then like 2022, after everything just went to the gutter and I just started seeing the content that was out there, I was like, well, I think I could probably make better content. So I really started really going in 22.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I noticed from being in the space since about like 2016 era that there were so few YouTubers at the time that were talking about crypto, and I felt that even though
No, I really appreciate that. And man, as soon as you said ICO back in 2017, 2018, that really used to be the Wild Wild West with those ICOs.
well, it was crazy. Like I don't know if anyone has seen the Netflix documentary that recently came out. It was on one of those scam ICOs that happened back in the day, but because it was such a new technology, it was very easy to trick people on the internet. So these content creators and uh, technical deep dives and white papers back in that era as well, and the content creators who were really putting in the effort to educate and go under the hood were really rewarded back then, especially in crypto. And many of them have massive channels now. And I don't think they're kind of producing that same level of content as they would before. But it's always interesting just to think about how content has developed. And now it's just very headline driven. And it's just all about the clicks, right? Like it's all.
Yeah. That's one thing about being a YouTuber that I don't think the audience realize. They really drive the content as far as for what the YouTuber make. Most people want to just like, hey, what's the pick? You know, what's the next hot pick? And if it's not a hot pick that's gonna make them 100x, then then they tend to tune out. Something like that is, to me, it's not beneficial for the audience. Um, but that's my take on it. So you guys probably already know Buzz, but for people who do not know Buzz, I'm gonna let him introduce himself and let you guys know, what y'all talking.
Yeah, I'm Buzz. I am the dev and one of the minds behind starting the Canine Finance DAO. So I've been in the space since about 2016. Early on, I worked mostly on arbitrage solutions. So many people don't know, but back in the day, there was this famous arbitrage play. So you could buy Bitcoin on one exchange and sell it on another, and you could make a spread on that. So you might be able to buy Bitcoin in one place for $3,000 and sell it on another for 3,200. And that was because, unlike TradFi, these exchanges were not communicating with one another through any sort of middle layer. So there was very little sophisticated arbitrage, or what you may know as high frequency trading. So we kind of joked back in the day that we started out with the bare bones, low frequency trading of literally doing these trades by hand, and identified, hey, like if we could actually create a software system that could automate this, there could be a really great opportunity here. But Sam Bankman-Fried came in, and I know he's spoken a lot about this on podcasts. And when he came from Jane Street, he brought a whole new level of sophistication to the market, and he really made those spreads thin very quickly. So our team exited that. We got very into DeFi, same team and group of people working on using DeFi applications. So if you look at kind of like the food coin era, there was these very inflationary coins like yams or sushi, um, and things like that, where it was like the first thing in DeFi that you could actually do. You could start farming coins. And in 2017, DeFi was really just this concept. There were white papers coming out, like we just spoke about, and ICOs talking about how they were going to decentralize finance. But these food coins and these that were built within these dexes, these decentralized exchanges that where you could farm them, was really kind of the first consumer used application where you could earn on your crypto. And people learned very quickly that the inflation that these coins suffered, they were just inflating coins over and over. And what we know in TradFi is that the music and inflation stops very quickly when you have nothing more to inflate. And a lot of those coins really fell apart. Some are still around, but they sort of call them zombie coins now. There's not much activity there. And when Ethereum transitioned from proof of work to proof of stake, that's really when the light bulb went off for myself and a lot of other people as well. Uh, when you have validators online in a proof of stake system, it's bringing on-chain revenue to the system. And that was where the light bulb went off, that on-chain revenue can really actually fuel a decentralized financial economy on chain. You need revenue to drive actual APR within the system and drive activity within the system. And we always thought Lido was very revolutionary. Myself and other members of the team, we were building on top of Lido, being super users of Lido. And that's really what gave us that motivation to build something like K9.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and I know you probably hear me say this time and time again. Um, I said whatever project that brings liquid staking onto Shibarium is going to be huge. And even from the first time that you came on the channel and you was explaining, how the roadmap was. One thing that I could say, especially about your team, the K9 team, is that you guys uh, over deliver. Especially within the timeline. Because I believe it was March, and when you were saying that we're gonna have it by Q3, I was like, well, that's a tall task to be able to complete just within that time frame, because that type of sophistication, as far as with the product that you're bringing, um, it takes a lot of coding, I would imagine. And for you guys to be able to not only deliver it, but actually execute it flawlessly. So definitely kudos to you and your team.
Oh, thank you very much for the kind words. It's certainly hasn't been a small amount of work, but we're very happy when we get the feedback where people say that K9 always delivers. Like we always deliver on our promises of what we say we're going to build and deliver and when. Something that's very important to us. And I know that in many communities, people get jaded because teams or developers often say, "Oh, this is launching soon," or "This is launching soon." And it was very important to us from the get go to put a lot of thought into our roadmap and what that would take to build and have a very thoughtful game plan around when we were going to launch and how long it would take us so that when we made a promise to a community that we were joining and that we were new to. I'm new to shib, new to shibarium. I call it third generation shib. We felt that it was very important that we do what we say we were going to do and make it on time. And I think our methodology for that is really in eliminating any sort of scope creep. So we set our light paper from day one exactly what we were going to build, and we've been sticking to that. I think that when you start to get different ideas and want to build ideas off of that and different side quests we call them to achieve that, that's when scope creep can come in and your timelines can get inflated. But in an ecosystem of many promises and oftentimes over promising and under delivering, we always try to achieve delivery.
No, that's absolutely right, because I could understand that, because it's and I know crypto and stock market is different, and but the how people view crypto, it is in a kind of like a stock market type of view, where you have, the prospectus of what the company, it has planned out, and the people who are buying the token, they feel like they're shareholders. So when a team says, hey, they're gonna do X, Y, and Z, and they don't do X, Y, and Z, then that's where, like you mentioned, just become very, very jaded. So I can completely understand that, especially from both ends.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's anybody can build in crypto, right? And I think that oftentimes when people come into crypto, they may not have the sophisticated background of maybe like working in a Fortune 500 environment or a consulting environment, iBanking environment, or a big tech company with those processes drilled in. But I don't think that any of those are prerequisites to do very well building in crypto. But oftentimes when you're working in industries like that, you learn certain principles or project management and things like that that just enabled you to put together a plan and really stick to it. And I think that's certainly been a strength of our team.
Yeah. Now I did see few listings for the past couple of months, which is awesome, because anytime I feel like anytime a project is getting listed on, some of these exchanges, especially top exchanges at that, it definitely built confidence within the project, as far as like, is it going to be here for the next, year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So that's something that I've seen you guys do, have a good focus on. Not saying to drop any alpha as far as what's the next listing, but what's your views and thoughts and opinion as far as like listings for K9 there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I one thing that our team never does is we never tell the community, hey, we're going to list here. We're very much so a results oriented group and community and DAO where when something happens, that's when it gets announced. We really don't like to say that things are going to happen before things are on the dotted line. And that's just a principle that we've stuck to from the very start, kind of just going back to our conversation about always wanting to deliver. And I think that oftentimes in crypto, there are groups who use exchanges as sort of like a marketing tactic, like, hey, look what's coming, or look what's coming, or this might be happening. And we take the approach of deliver and then tell rather than the opposite. But what I can say about exchanges is that we get contacted by them all the time, whether it's warm introductions or cold introductions, and there's common themes that arise. These tier one exchanges, which I think are more applicable for this conversation, they're looking for a few things. They're looking for your user base, community size, number of holders, but more importantly, and what's more timely right now, is they're looking for, is your product actually being used? Is your product getting on-chain activity? Is it being adopted? Is there a large community? Is it beneficial? And many of these exchanges actually have criteria posted on their website that they look into. And I know that there's been a huge trend in the market lately of meme coins being listed on some of these top exchanges as well, but the principle still holds true. A lot of these meme coins that are really blowing up, they have some of those characteristics. They have a ton of holders, they have a lot of volume, and when there's volume, and specifically on decentralized exchanges, there's a lot of activity on the network. So those are some of the metrics that these big tier ones are looking at, and I'm very optimistic for the future.
No, absolutely. As all, because I tell people this, look, I'm a holder of K9, and just seeing just the development from, I always tell people I try to stand back and just watch what a project is doing versus just automatically jump into it. And just standing from the sideline and just seeing how you guys are just tirelessly just working, and and you guys, and some of you guys probably in the chat could probably attest to this as well too. Just seeing like how your team is structured. Like what how did that come to be about? Because I never heard the story about like how the team really was formed.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of us, I mean, some are well-known faces in the community from the development side, but there's also members of our development team who don't have a Twitter account or have an X account, but they're working on a daily basis with us. So like the more um, recognizable faces within the team or the management council, like people like myself or Shima or Turtle. We've all known each other for quite a long time, and have kept in contact just in different groups or projects that we've been interested in, or looking at what one another were building, mutual contacts and things like that. But I've told this story quite a bit, and in terms of the origin story of Canine, and the origin really actually came from one of our advisors. So Meyer, who's the founder of ETH Toronto, I've personally known him for a long time, probably dating back to 2016. And of course, many listeners probably know that Shib was the main sponsor of the conference last year. And he had introduced us, the developers who are working on K9, to the Shib team, and that's when the light bulb went off. When we started being very excited about a new chain launching, because previous to that, we were using uh, products like GMX, products like synthetics, and if you look at GMX as a case study, it really blew up Arbitrum. So we had this sort of outlook on how an L2 blockchain can really succeed. And it can often be because there's a DeFi super app that becomes very popular there. DeFi apps drive TVL and they drive transaction activity to your blockchain, which are two huge indicators as to whether or not new users or new capital or new wallet addresses want to migrate over to your chain. And we sort of came into that introduction to their team with that that lens that like how cool would it be if there was a DeFi super app that was coming to this chain, and we started asking questions about what they knew was going to be built, like what was kind of their plan for the future, and it's a very very visionary future. But one thing that we noticed is that in the short term, like there was a metaverse and there's NFT projects and tokens, but there didn't seem to be a an early app like Canine has become that was going to drive DeFi adoption and TVL, which is what we got very excited about. And um, just going back to sort of that origin story, Meyer was sort of the key cog that kind of knew all of the people that he sort of assembled to get together and say, "Hey, like there could be a really great opportunity here. Are you guys working on anything right now?" And that's kind of how we came together.
Some, especially the fact that you guys already knew each other. Because sometimes friendships within crypto, it could be short lived, especially like throughout the years. But once you do find like a good sets of friends, I definitely recommend the audience you stick by them. Now you
Yeah, I always say this sort of pessimistic cliche that you can't trust anyone in crypto. The only thing that you can trust is the code.
ex-
And
ex- yep.
it's your keys, your responsibility. Um, you should never really take the word for anybody at face value. I mean, we were talking about content earlier. Content creators, as a whole, sometimes are the most criticized, right? It's they're talking about what they bought or something like that, and but the one thing that you can always trust is the code. And I think from an engineering standpoint, that's sort of how our team always operated and sort of looked at things, and we really bonded on that, and just truly believe in decentralization and decentralized technologies.
Now you did mention transaction. One thing that I noticed because I was playing around with the staking, as well as doing some transaction on Shibarium yesterday. I did see the gas fees were sometimes was at a penny or 2 cents, 3 cents. One thing that you guys did mention as far as like bringing burns and automatically we're seeing like with the increase of transaction, this is really gonna help because back in what December when we were seeing transaction fees of a penny 2 cents, about what 200 300 thousand dollars worth of Shiba Inu was burnt, and I could see how this could happen real fast real quick, especially with K9. Was there any fee structure that was put into the code to allow that to happen faster, or just the natural progression of the blockchain that's causing it?
Well, the way at very high level, like how um, how somebody can think about how gas works is that when there's more activity, the gas price is higher. That's just a very simplistic way of looking at it. And I saw a great tweet from I think it was Coinpedia Markets earlier today that was retweeted from the Canine account. So daily transactions on Shibarium went up 70% since Canine launched, um, and it's just very exciting to see that when there's more transactions and more activity, there's more congestion, you have more gas, the gas fee goes up. It's sort of that circular loop, and it was really how Canine was designed to work. It was designed to bring TVL to to Shibarium, and then when you get TVL to Shibarium, how do you actually encourage users to transact? How do you give them things to do? And when you give users things to do, and there's capital there, that can really drive this circular flywheel effect to make more transactions, make more gas fees happen. And we really love as a team what Shib was able to deliver a few months ago with the Shib torch, because now there's a very very clear correlation where the success of Canine bringing TVL to the chain, encouraging transaction activity, that's directly going to actually burn Shib. So it's a net positive effect for the entire community.
100%, and I even have the liquidity of how much is currently just within the pair, K9 and canine bone with rat bone, and it's over one. It's $1.27 million. Like, I don't think people realize, just within what 20, a little over 24 hours that you guys were able to do this.
Well, that's actually just a small piece of the not a small piece. It's certainly a great piece, but it's only one piece of the puzzle, the TVL that we were able to bring. So um, just within, I think it was an hour or so, we as Canine doubled the TVL of Shibarium, and within 24 hours, we've seen more than $1 million worth of Canine bridge to Shibarium. Um, we have of that seven, I think it's 75 billion tokens. 61 billion of those are locked in the Canine platform for an average of 10 and a half months. There was over 2 million bone that were put into Canine's liquid staking. And then that farm you're referring to, of course, has $1.2 million in it. But I believe now I'd have to kind of look up the exact numbers, but we're starting to approach almost 3x the TVL of Shibarium. And I kind of say this with a disclaimer because DeFi Llama and some of the other great sources of data to track TVL on blockchains, it's quite unreliable with Shibarium, and just something as a community we really need to improve together over time to make sure that these very popular data aggregation sites are pulling data from Shibarium. So whenever our team's pulling these numbers, it actually takes us 30 minutes or so to pull them, and which is exciting for us. It's exciting that we're building in this new space and can really make an impact. But to see those numbers just over 24 hours is incredible. And for our canine community, it's about 45% of the circulating supply of the token was locked up, which is crazy. Within 24 hours, we actually we put together in our DAO forum a spreadsheet of our projections of what we thought Canine was going to do, and sort of like a tracking sheet for our community, so to speak. And the amount of Canine that we thought would be staked by the end of 2024 was staked in several hours. So we
That projection, huh?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I gave the caveat to the community that whenever you're making any sort of financial model, it's really just your best estimates, right? It's very hard to um, you always try to just go from comparables. So we look at comparables like GMX and synthetics, and while those products, as of right now, are much bigger than Canine, on a percentage basis of what we've done over the course of the last 24 hours, it's been on par, if not a higher percentage basis than what some of these behemoths on other chains have been able to do. And I just think poses such a great opportunity for growth.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't know if you know this, but just how long did it take GMX to blow up Arbitrum?
Oh, I don't know that exactly. Shima was actually one of the first users on GMX. I'd have to ask that to him. He was the more of the person who was nitty gritty within GMX. He's actually proposed several DAO proposals over there that have successfully gone through. He's friendly with their founders as well, just because he was one of the very early users. So that'd be a question for Shima in terms of the timeline of GMX, of how long it took from inception to really blowing up.
You know, I just for historical data, that's what I was just asking for. Now, your timeline. I know I'm like going a little bit all over the place. It just hit me.
Oh, it's okay.
Um, your release dates. Like, that's one thing that I was also impressed by, as far as like how the timing of your release dates uh, within the section, as far as like with how the markets tend to operate, Q3, Q4, after a halving. Was it intentional, or was it just a date that you guys picked?
Um, I mean, I think we certainly strategically think about when we want to make launches. But the fact that we were launching after a halving, I think that's sort of the perfect storm, right? Like you can't choose to build something every 4 years, so to speak. But when we started working on K9 and structured the DAO and started to dig into product planning of how long things are going to take, there was certainly a level of strategy around when we wanted to launch certain things. Um, I think give or take a few weeks, but a lot of people thought that we were going to launch our product at ETH Toronto, which I think people were very hyped to hear. And it was never the plan to launch at ETH Toronto. If people have kind of been in the war room, so to speak, doing a product launch or any sort of launch, there's a lot that goes into it. So Shima, myself, Turtle, and the others who were part of the development team, we the last 4 days we've probably been on Google Meets calls for 75% of the day and sleeping for 25% of the day. There would have been no way that we could launch a product at this scale while also participating in a conference. So there's a lot of pre-planning that goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of the security aspect of things. It's things that are thankless efforts, right? One thing that I'm very proud of from our team is that nobody was scammed yesterday. There were no errors with the product. Nobody lost money from a transaction that didn't make sense or anything like that, which is a huge positive. And things like that are often thankless, because people, just in general, it's hard to envision how much work goes into making sure that we have the proper Cloudflare set up just to make sure that our website doesn't go down. We were actually DDoS several times, and we predicted things like that. And um, it's just a testament to the pre-planning and things like that that go into it, that our community was able to ensure that nobody was scammed and everything went smooth.
No, that's definitely something to be proud of because, like I mentioned, I've been in so many different launches, and it didn't, like, majority of the time there's something that, just last minute that pops up. And with you guys, just, knocking on wood, of course, all your launch has been flawless, just smooth. um so definitely, like I said, it is a big testament to your team um and the planning that you guys did.
It's certainly the community as well. We have there's so many members of our community to shout out, but a few that are very ripe off the top of my head is a community member by the name of Couch Adventures. He was up almost at the middle of the night with our development team the night before, and he was helping us to make product how-to videos. There's another community member named Frank, who is a become a famous face amongst the community. He probably spent 12 hours on voice chats yesterday assisting people. There's a community member named Sizen Shib. Just in the last 6 weeks, every single Saturday, he's been doing 12 hours of YouTube streaming, teaching people how to use our testnet. And our testnet's been live prior to our product launch for nearly 2 months. So it was a month privately for our whales and a month for the general public. And the amount of education that our community DAO members and mods have been providing over that 1 to 2 month period, it was all part of the plan to ensure that when launch day comes, there's going to be a surge of traffic. There's going to be a lot of excitement, and the documentation that's been put together, the availability of a test net, and the willingness of our community to be creating content and uh, working with our devs to make sure that everyone had that content that they need, was just incredible.
That's what you definitely want within a community, where everyone just banding together and just helping one another. Because that's definitely reminiscent of the early Sheep days. Because before Shiba Inu was launched on any, well, was only on any exchanges, people used to come to the to the Discord and ask, well, how do I buy it off of Uniswap, and the step by step of people just taking the time. And yeah, so it's definitely good to hear that's how the community is formed.
Yeah, no, it's been great. We had certainly have rising stars in our community. Our community is growing daily, and it's the ingredient that you need, because it's always why we wanted to form as a DAO as well, and why decentralization has always been at the heart of Canine, because a community can take a project and take a technology so much further than just one or two people calling all the shots. And it's something that we're very passionate about. And I just did see a question here in the chat as well from Relly G. He said, "What can we expect for the V2 launch?" We have our DAO spaces every Thursday, so we had our last spaces earlier today, and I actually announced on that spaces that our Q4 roadmap we actually finished yesterday. So the V2 of the Canine product was included in our shipment yesterday. So if anyone were reviewing the roadmap, we delivered that a quarter early, and that was very exciting for us. And what we're working on now is certainly improvements and stabilization of the product as it is, and really focusing on growth. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is, as a community and as a DAO, is putting together what's next. What's the roadmap for next year look like?
Guys, I don't know if you heard that. That's a mic drop right there. This is what I was meaning by over delivering. Like a whole quarter. Wow, a whole quarter early. Man, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you.
See that we have another question here within the chat. It says, "Are you planning on only to support Shibarium or other projects as well?"
Um, well, within Shibarium, we do have a partner program that our marketing team is starting very shortly within the DAO. So right now they're encouraging other projects in Shibarium to add a KN bone pair. So if you have a token on Shibarium and you pair your token with KN Bone, our marketing team's putting together some graphics and some content that will market your project to on the Canine Twitter account. So any projects that are doing that, they're welcome to tweet at Canine. I think there's been 12 projects so far that have integrated KN Bone, and shortly after, probably within the next month or two, we'll be starting boosted campaigns. So if you were to go to the Canine product, there's a section called farming, and right now when you're staking your bone and you're farming in that bone pool, I believe there's about a 40 or 50% APR that you're earning there. And there should be a button there that says bonus, and it should say no bonus right now. And these bonus tokens are intended to be other projects within the Shibarium community. So if you're a Shibarium project, you can partner with Canine, have our marketing team put together a marketing plan, and your tokens would be put into that pool as well. So anyone who's farming there would earn your token as well. So I'd say it's Roaring Kitty. It could be Roaring Kitty, and people who are in that farm would not only earn Canine tokens, but they'd also earn a little bit of Roaring Kitty. So the community can choose to do a 1 week campaign or a 2 week campaign, and it's really our gift to the Shibarium community to elevate all projects, elevate voices, and help projects grow their holder count and get access to a group of holders who are DeFi sophisticated. These are great holders that projects could really benefit from reaching.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you said that because that's one thing that I was starting to, that I was thinking as far as just like really opening up my platform for Shibarium projects to come on and do AMAs like this as well too. So um, glad that we're in the same mind when it comes to that.
Yeah, and as for the sort of the latter half of the question, I think it was Hodel T that asked this. Uh, the other sort of side of that is Shibarium going to be the only blockchain that Canine supports? And what I would have to say to that is just keep an eye out for our 2025 roadmap. We're certainly have some big plans in mind, and nothing's finalized yet. And we are a DAO and make decentralized decisions on the future of the project. But there could be some very great opportunities from some projects who have reached out and are very interested in Canine bringing the technology other places.
Just scouring through the questions right now just to see. Um, when can we start building on the metaverse? That would be more of the Sheep team question. Same thing with Treat as well.
Yeah, I may have said that when we first heard about Shibarium, that there was a metaverse being built and there were tokens and NFTs. Unfortunately, I don't really have any updates on the metaverse. I'm not very knowledgeable in that regard.
Said, did K9 have to get John Deere's permission to use the green and yellow tractor in the icon? I,
We stripped the logo off. I don't think we'll be getting any cease and desist.
and as soon as they said that, I started looking on the farming, and yep, there it is right there too.
But there's yeah, on the topic of the farming, there's still a really great opportunity for bone holders. Sometimes people are a little bit scared of farming because they've heard of what's called impermanent loss. And impermanent loss means that if you're farming, say it was K9 ETH, and K9 went shooting up and the price went crazy, you may have made more money as a farmer or not farming. So if you were just holding K9, you may have made more money than actually being in that farm. And that's what's called impermanent loss. And with this farm that's on K9, because K and Bone are priced at the exact same price, you don't have that same risk. So it's a way that you can stake your bone, you can park it there, and then you can take that LP token. And right now, I'm just looking on the site; it's actually a 44% APR for doing that. And on the real yield staking page, the APR goes from anywhere. And again, this is where you can either stake or lock your K9 on Shibarium, and you have the ability to either stake it, which means you can withdraw at any given time, or you can choose the number of months that you want to lock the K9 for. So if you're just staking your K9, I believe it's about a 5% uh, reward that you're getting, and you get that reward in bone. So if you stake K9, you're getting bone. And if you wanted to lock it for a year, I believe that number goes as high as about 35%. So there's still some really great opportunities despite all the excitement of the first day. I think that there's going to be a lot more excitement to come.
Now on that topic, I do have a question as far as with the multiplier. So, whenever you lock it up, so I did mines for 12 months. I think the multiplier is like 13. Um,
Yeah,
can you explain that just a little bit?
yeah. So the how that works is say you had 100 K9. We'll use easy numbers. You're If you were just to stake it, you have 100 K9 in there, and there could be 100,000 in there. You're going to get 100 out of the 100,000. So that percentage of the rewards. So if you have 1% of the pool, you're going to get 1% of the bone rewards that go into that pool. But if you choose to lock your K9, if you had that 100 K9, you're actually getting the same amount of rewards as if you had 13x that number of K9. Um, so it multiplies your position to make it look like to the system you actually have 13 times the K9 in there to ensure that you get a higher percentage of the rewards that are being shipped to that pool.
Gotcha. Okay, so when it says the deposit boost on the screen right there, so it's acting as that's the amount that you actually staked in with the
Yeah, so if your deposit where it says deposit boost, that's the amount that you actually put in times your multiplier. So that is amount that the system is going to see when it says, hey, how many rewards should this user get? So even though you were putting in 100, you'd actually be getting 13 times the rewards if you were locking up for a year as opposed to staking. And the system will recognize that, oh, this person doesn't have 100 in there. They actually have 100 times 13 because there's a multiplier.
Now I did see on Mantra that the first sale of an NFT with Canine Bone went through with I want to say it was what close to $600 or something like that. I could be wrong with the numbers.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw that Mantra integrated K and Bone. I also saw that Chewy Swap. I believe they have NFTs on there, or maybe Jimmy was doing an NFT collection. But there's another NFT collection that he was part of that was doing some sales in K and Bone as well. And um, two great projects, and two of the 12 that have already integrated K and Bone. But I was saying to on Twitter maybe just over a week ago that if I was a developer, or I said a developer that had time on Shibarium, that was looking, hey, what should I be building, or what should I be focused on? I was saying, hey, next week there's going to be an influx of Can Bone coming to Shibarium, and yeah, they're going to be able to use it on the Canine product. But what do we know about consumers? We know that when consumers get money, they want to spend it,
Right.
and we know that think about the stimulus checks that happened during COVID. What happened with the stock market?
Oh yeah.
When people get money, they want to spend it on things. And I was saying that people are going to get Can Bone coming into Shibarium. They're still going to have their bone locked in that delegated position on K9, but they're going to want to spend their Can Bone. And I was just encouraging people to build interesting things, build interesting products that people want to use, and just be a first mover. And I think a lot of people on Shibarium have really gravitated towards that and started to build awesome things. I mean, we're starting to create a really great ecosystem around the liquid staking token for Bone, which is very exciting.
Yeah. No. 100%. I did see another question. It says, "Is there any way to get farming bot or even integrate Sarah on Shibarium?"
I'm not sure exactly what that means, but we actually built a farming bot. A member of our community named Francesco, myself and Turtle worked with them about a couple days before the product launch. And if you were to go to the official Canine Telegram, we've built it like a buy bot. So every time people stake Canine or stake Bone, it shows up in the chat to alert people that there's activity. Um, and we also have I'm not sure. Are you familiar with a product called Hummingbot? This is a little bit of alpha here, but
Yep.
uh, we have built a Hummingbot plugin that is the first ever to support Shibarium. So Hummingbot is sort of a do-it-yourself market making software that many market making firms or individuals use, and it never integrated Shibarium before. So we basically built the integration where if you're on Hummingbot, it's still getting approved through their DAO, but or through the DAO that needs to approve it. It's not actually Hummingbot, but it's still getting approved where anybody would be able to go use the product to start market making or coming up with algorithmic trading strategies to be trading on Shibarium. And the first test of that product has been maintaining the peg price of KN Bone and Bone. And if you were to pull up the chart of KN Bone and Bone, that's been pegged exactly 1-to-1 for with Bone since we launched. So it's certainly a great case study of just something else that we built along the way.
Yeah, and even just looking at the volume, just within yesterday, it did about $76,000 worth of volume. Well, including with today and yesterday, about 55,000. So it's where people are actually just going in there, just either swapping it for can bone or rat bones, which is pretty cool just to be able to see how these liquidities is just is moving.
Yeah, this is an interesting chart here. Um, this is oh, this is the can bone chart. Yeah, the reason for the candles is just because it tracks the bone chart.
Right. Yeah. But you are seeing movement, even movement currently right now on Shibarium. Of course, the price of bone is going up, so that's pretty exciting. Um, but yeah, and also seeing you guys been buying a lot of bone. Is that just more liquidity, or is it just for reserves? Can you kind of touch in on that?
Oh, well, we need a lot of bone. It's been used to like within our product for gas fees. It's been used for adding LP positions on Shibarium, used for actually creating the initial amount of KN bone that was required to start the system. The liquidity pool that you're looking at on your screen, we needed to start that pool, knowing that you can't really start a liquid staking product with $0 of liquidity. I think we started it at about 40K worth in that pool there, just so that people could start trading it immediately, and that there was enough liquidity in there so that users were not impacted. But yeah, all of our bone purchases are doing quite well. We've been TWAPing, basically putting in orders when the price of bone is falling and really purchasing it at lower prices, and just very excited to see it going up. I think it's well deserved.
Oh, I think someone just put you on the spot here from the Roaring Kitty community. They said, "Can you help Roaring Kitty integrate with Shibarium?"
I would love to, but what I'm trying not to do, and I think my family would very much so appreciate this, is just not take on any more side projects. But we can certainly point you in the right direction of the right people to ask. Yeah, so zapping is a really popular feature in DeFi, and sounds confusing at first, but basically what it means is that when you're making DeFi transactions, there's a lot of transactions that happen. Like if you even go through the steps of a liquidity pool, and that's it. You got to purchase both sides of the coin. You got to approve. You have to add the liquidity. You have to find the LP token. You have to stake the LP token. There's a lot of steps. So zapping is just the nomenclature that we use to say it's going to do all the transactions for you. Just click this one button and it'll happen for you. So zapping on K9 means that if you only have bone or you only have K and bone, yeah, so if you click details there and then click zap. So if you only have bone or you only have K and bone, you can type in the number that you want to spend there, and it'll put you directly into the farm, and you can start earning in that farm. So it does have a 0.5% fee. If you see the Zap fee there on your screen, so it's a convenience feature. It's not required to use. Just makes it easier for the user to start using K9. But you can also click that button there on the left-hand side of the screen that says "Add liquidity at Shiba Swap," and you can do it yourself manually if you'd like to avoid that Zap fee. The one thing that we do not recommend, just because it still is an early product, is that if you're doing maybe over $10,000, somewhere in that range, it may be worth it for you to actually add the liquidity yourself for a couple reasons. It's not incurring that fee. I think it's really great for smaller numbers, but as you have larger size, that fee can become quite expensive, right?
Right.
And you also could be subject to slippage. 'Cause the liquidity pool size right now is 1.2 million, but if you tried to zap in what's on your screen right now, you'd certainly have a lot of slippage, even at the pool size as it is now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, but when it comes to liquid staking, that part, they could, I guess, stake as much as they want.
Oh yeah, certainly. So the liquid staking tab there, you need to have Bone on Ethereum. So if you have Bone that's in a, maybe you're delegated to a validator already. It's actually 1.3 million Bone that's currently delegated in the Canine validator that's not using liquid staking. So I think there's a lot more to come into Canine, but if you have Bone on another validator, you have Bone on an exchange, or you have Bone just sitting on Ethereum, you can use that liquid staking tab, and you stake your Bone on Ethereum, and you immediately receive your KN Bone, which is the liquid staking token, priced 1-to-1 with Bone on Shibarium. And you can always go the other direction as well. So if you have one KN Bone on Shibarium, you can always withdraw for one Bone. So it makes sure that there's never fractionalized reserves within the system.
It's like we hit the hour mark for this live stream. I do have one more question to ask before we let you go, because I know you've been up, the past few days, and yeah, definitely let you get some rest. Um, what is the outlook? Because we know, I want to say it's roughly around what 30% for Lido that currently is used for their validator and delegator. What's the outlook that you guys are looking to, or projected to, percentage of bone that you guys think be able to get up the market share?
Well, we got 2 million within 24 hours. If we maintain this growth rate pace, we'll we'll outpace Lido really quick. But just all joking aside, I think that took Lido a long time to get to that 30% number, and the 30% number is not just Lido as well. It's all liquid staking products on Shibarium combined. It basically says how much ETH participates in liquid staking in general. So it's not just one product, but I think yeah, we're approaching 1% of all bone just in a day, and we really would love for Shibarium to get to that industry standard level and get to that industry standard level of 30%. And I think that more and more people are seeing the benefits. So when you're using Canine, it's not just benefiting Canine. It's not just you making an APR or a yield. It's you're participating in a proof of stake network. You're securing the blockchain, and you're being an active participant in helping it grow. And I think that's very important to think about. Is what can we all do for the growth of Shibarium? How can we all burn Shib together, and not just burning it out of our own pocket? We need to use, we need to secure, we need to build products and support products as well. So I think that we have a long way to go to hit 30% as a community. I don't think it's all on Canine to bring in all of that 30%, but I think it's achievable over time. It just needs the buy-in from the right people. There's certainly individuals who within Shib or within the Shibarian community that have a very very strong voice that really can make things move. And I think if those people band together and really share their voice to be using Canine and celebrating liquid staking, that we can do some great things and achieve that mark. But regardless of the participation of the broader community, I think that Canine has a lot of room to grow and is going to grow in short order.
No, absolutely. And you guys know you got my support. So anything that I could do on the content side, I'll definitely do it. Not only as a holder, but just as I love seeing, just products, like real life products being used and built. So you definitely have a friend in me. So
Yeah, thank you. I didn't even realize that we had hit the hour mark because it's always easy to chat with you, and I know that we're sometimes just chatting in Telegram and stuff like that. But it's nice to actually connect, and the hour went by very quickly. So if any time that I'm welcome back, I'm always happy to come to your channel and support, and because I love the content that you're making, just like I said at the top of the show.
any final words before you let us off?
Yeah, I would just say I just want to give a shout out to the canine community of all the hard work that they've been doing, and really the success in the launch. The numbers that the launch have gotten have certainly exceeded many people's expectations, and it's something to certainly celebrate. And it's just a shout out to the broader shib community and shibarium community that if you haven't yet used Canine, you haven't dug into it, maybe you don't own Canine tokens yet, um, do a little reading. Check out our docs. Check out videos like this. If you own Bone, maybe see if this product is of interest to you. If you're in a validator right now, I know that you're earning a 2.4% APR there. Maybe you want to see if a product like this may be appropriate to still be delegating to a validator through liquid staking, but have that liquidity and earn farming rewards on Canine. Maybe that's more appropriate for you. I just encourage everyone to do their own research and continue supporting because it's that's really what's fueling the canine community right now. I know that the community is very tired, but the praise and excitement and joy from the broader network is really what's keeping this going, and it's exciting.
Well, Buzz, like I mentioned, really appreciate you for taking the time out to come onto the channel. So yeah, until next time, guys. Hopefully, you guys get a chance to go on their X account as well as their website. Very, very great product. But that's really all I got for you guys today. Random Art signing off. Peace.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.